When a long-term relationship ends badly, the fallout often leaves behind a trail of broken promises and a terrifying sense of vulnerability. You trusted someone, and they disappointed you in ways that few people can fully understand. In that raw emotional state, finding a way to reclaim control feels urgent. And if you share a child, the daily routine itself can suddenly look like leverage. Restricting the other parent's access becomes a highly effective way to hold onto power. When the hurt runs deep enough, the urge to make your ex feel the pain of your absence easily disguises itself. The parent convinces themselves that limiting visits is simply a necessary measure to protect their child from a flawed partner. But the 8-year-old living in the middle of this standoff does not experience schedule changes as a protective strategy. They experience it as a sudden, jarring instability in their own home. Instead of feeling guarded, they feel profoundly confused. They sit with their packed bag, wondering if they did something wrong to cause the tension, and asking themselves if loving both of their parents has somehow become dangerous. The child lacks the context to understand the adult conflict. By using access as a post-breakup penalty, the parent inadvertently turns the child into the collateral damage of a battle they have no tools to fight. To understand where this controlling instinct comes from, we have to look backward. These behavioral patterns usually begin long before adulthood, often in a childhood home where affection was freely given and then abruptly taken away. This diagram tracks how early environments shape behavior. When adults use silence as punishment, a child learns to closely monitor the room for emotional safety. They internalize that losing control means getting hurt, eventually mutating into withholding communication as defensive teenagers. Shutting down and letting people feel your absence creates a barrier. It gives the teenager an insulating layer of strength against anyone who might break their trust again. The controlling behavior we see later in adulthood is rooted entirely in survival. It started out as the most effective way a vulnerable young person knew how to shield themselves from pain. Fast forward to adulthood. When a painful relationship breakup shatters their trust, those old ingrained coping mechanisms are immediately triggered. The intense anger from the betrayal has nowhere clean to go. Without a healthy outlet, those decades-old survival instincts flare up, overriding the parent's adult logic. Because the shared child is the last remaining bridge between the two adults, they inadvertently become the physical space where all this historic, displaced pain is acted out. This unhealed generational trauma creates a massive blind spot. The parent convinces themselves they are acting as a shield, while in reality, they are projecting their own heartbreak onto the next generation. Children might lack the vocabulary to explain adult logistics, but their emotional radar is sharp. They absorb the silence and physically feel the heavy tension when love turns into a fight over a weekend schedule. That absorbed weight has to go somewhere. You will often see it manifest outside the home as unexplained behavioral shifts, a heavy quietness, or deep distraction while sitting at their desk in school. Establishing firm, necessary boundaries against a genuinely unsafe individual protects the child. But restricting access simply to punish an ex-partner for your own disappointment places the child squarely in the crossfire. Breaking this cycle requires a difficult pivot. The parent must accurately identify their own lingering pain, ensuring they process it themselves rather than passing the burden down the family line. True protection requires the adult to independently process their own heartbreak, so the child never becomes the envelope forced to carry it. Choosing a healthier path does not require the parent to ignore the betrayal or pretend they weren't genuinely hurt by the breakup. Healing means drawing a clear line. It means refusing to make your child responsible for proving your pain or validating your side of the story. It forces the parent to pause and ask a difficult question. Am I truly shielding my child from harm, or am I asking them to hold my historical hurt? A child's behavior is always an evolving form of communication, reflecting the environment we built for them. If this resonates with your own experiences, subscribe to the channel. This is where we recognize the child behind the behavior, so we can help shape tomorrow's potential.